Chris Carbert and Anthony Olenek are both being charged with conspiracy to murder. The Crown is accusing the two men of conspiring to murder police officers during their time at the 2022 Coutts protest and blockade. They're also both being charged with unlawful possession of a firearm for a dangerous purpose and mischief over $5,000. Anthony Olenek is additionally charged with unlawful possession of an explosive device for a dangerous purpose. The two men have pled not guilty to all the charges against them. Testimony from a Crown witness during Monday's proceedings in the trial of Chris Carbert and Anthony Olenek revealed that the RCMP's highest level of leadership in Alberta was involved in the RCMP's law enforcement response to the Coutts protest and blockade. Robert Krejcik reporting for Rebel News here in Lethbridge, Alberta. RCMP Commissioner Gordon Corbett, who was the highest-ranking RCMP official physically on the ground in Coutts during the 2022 Coutts protest and blockade, testified as a witness for the Crown on Monday, and he stated that platinum-level RCMP people, in this case referring to the highest levels of the RCMP's leadership in Alberta, were involved in the federal law enforcement agency's response to the 2022 Coutts protest and blockade and other demonstrations across Alberta in opposition to the broader COVID-19 enterprise. We know this because of testimony from RCMP Superintendent Gordon Corbett, who was the highest-ranking RCMP official on the ground in Coutts at this time. He was testifying as a witness for the Crown, and he stated that in his capacity working at this protest, he corresponded and dealt with platinum levels of RCMP officials. That was a coded reference to then Deputy Commissioner of the RCMP, Curtis Zablocki. And that's the role, that's the highest level of RCMP authority in the province. He's subordinate only to the Commissioner of the RCMP, who at that time was Brenda Lucky. In addition to this testimony from Gordon Corbett, there were hundreds of pages of email correspondences from the RCMP in Alberta that were recently disclosed via an Access to Information and Privacy Act disclosure request. Basically, this testimony from RCMP Commissioner Gordon Corbett and this ATIP email disclosure dump give us some sense of how high up the food chain management of this Coutts protest and blockade went within the RCMP. The Crown's latest and perhaps final witness in its case is a man named Richard Carina. He's an RCMP guy with the Weapons Enforcement Support Team. He's also a former military guy, and he currently has this hybrid role in which he also works with the Lethbridge Police Service. His expertise is with firearms. He stated that he lives and breathes guns, and stated through estimate that he's probably fired off over 1 million rounds over the course of his career. Carina's relevance to this trial lies in his role inspecting items as evidence in the midst of the investigation of the 2022 Coutts protest and blockade, specifically firearms, ammunition, and firearms-related items. So he did inspections of these evidentiary items both in February and in June. And during his testimony, he spoke about the firearms that he came across, over a dozen of them, thousands and thousands of rounds of ammunition of all different types and calibers, whether it be shotgun shells, slugs, and buckshot, 22 caliber ammunition, 223 caliber ammunition, 9mm ammunition, and basically speaking to the jury about what he saw with his own eyes when inspecting this modular home that the prosecution is seeking to link to the two defendants. It should be noted, however, that no specific attribution was provided from these firearms or ammunition to the defendants themselves over the course of today's testimony. While there are court dates scheduled in this courthouse until July 19th, the trial may not conclude by then. If that's the case, extra court dates will be added. And given that this is a jury trial, it will be given priority, given that the judge doesn't want jurors to have extended periods of time committed to jury duty and separated from their real lives. Remember, folks, we can't produce this in the field original journalism without operational costs. Not to make it about me, but I'm being sent out here from Ottawa, so there are a lot of costs involved. Airfare, accommodation, car rental, consumables. That's where you folks come in, because you allow us to do this journalistic endeavor. So please help us out, donate and contribute at truckertrial.com. Also, stay up to date with our ongoing coverage.